Alright kids, but thanks to some very noble hackers, I was able to get my hands on the advanced copy of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and I got some things to say about it. Now first off, I was not really a big fan of the first movie. In fact, I was one of those guys who thought that it was such a far out idea that it was going to pretty much kill the entire comic book movie fad. Well, what do I know? It made like, what, $500 million at the box office, created an entire new multimedia franchise like the X-Men, so yeah, I was wrong. But I still wasn't really a big fan of the movie. I thought it was still pretty formulaic, and it seemed like every other sci-fi adventure ensemble movie. It just felt like sort of a light Joss Whedon kind of endeavor. And I can say that with Volume 2, I think it is a moderately better movie. Not significantly better, but noticeably better, but I still think it's pretty overwhelming through and through. Alright, so here's the thing about the first movie. I think it's a movie that's kind of, in this movie and the second movie, the one we're reviewing now, I mean, I think they're plagued by the exact same problem that all the other Marvel and DC movies are having, and that's the fact that they all have the exact same damn ending, where you have banter back and forth, you build up for the sequel, you drop some red herrings, and then in the last hour, it's just explosions and people running around, and we'll get more into the Apocalypse porn finale on this one. But that really hurts movies, especially because you have such a good ensemble cast. And if they really spend a bit more time, fleshing out the characters and having better dialogue exchanges, I think you could have a much better movie. But unfortunately, it reverts back to, the tried and true for the genre, and it really hurts in the long haul. All right, so what you need to know. If you haven't seen the first movie, the big five core characters return. You got Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, who's the main character. Basically is your Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Deadshot character. Zoe Saldana, who's green, and she reminds me of somebody. The Mask. That's who she looks like, the Mask in this movie. She's back playing the kind of but not really love interest and take charge heroine. You got Bradley Cooper playing a raccoon with a machine gun. You got Vin Diesel playing a little anthropomorphic tree that just says his name over and over again. But really, to me, the star of the movie is Dave Bautista, the pro wrestler. He basically plays a version of Kratos from God of War with autism. He's really great. I think he has the best lines in the movie. Pretty much the best humor all comes from him. And he actually has kind of a semi-Asperger's-y love interest in this movie as well. She's like a half wasp woman, half antenna, half moth, whatever. I don't even want to follow through with it. But anyway, she's an empath, not a telepath. She has the ability to read people's feelings because that's 21st century. Who needs thoughts? All you need are emotions. But that's neither here nor there. Alright, so the big five core players return to this movie, but the problem is, and I think they have some good bantering, I mean, they gel off other pretty well. It's a much better ensemble cast than most films alike. But the problem is the expanded supporting cast is just way too big. Most superhero movies, you have the focus on the main character, you have the supervillain as a foil, and then you got maybe like 3 or 4 supporting cast members for them to play off of. Okay, in Guardians of the Galaxy, the supporting cast is about 24 or 30 people strong. That's not an exaggeration. There are way too many characters to work with here. And even like really big central characters only have a couple of lines. So you have all this stuff being pushed in. Nobody really has substantial time to kind of develop and move the plot forward. And it just ends up kind of being, I think, a waste of talent. I mean, you got guys like Sly Stallone in here, which are just squandered. Yeah, Sylvester Stallone, he's in the movie, but he doesn't do much of anything because they're saving it for the sequel. Just building him in there, and he's getting a paycheck, and there's really no point. And you get that with a lot of characters, a lot of dead weight. Way too many characters to focus on. It feels like it's a TV show with an expanded cast, and if you didn't see the first movie, you're really going to be lost. And the new characters really don't add a whole lot to the story. Of course, the big inclusion for this one is they got Kurt Russell coming out. He's playing Ego. And if you know anything about Marvel Comics, you know already right off the bat what the big swerve on this one is. He's Ego the Living Planet. And basically he plays Star-Lord's dad. And the gimmick is he is kind of like the Molecule Man, I guess, kind of retcon the character where he controls matter and he goes around building worlds. And the hook is, he's went around to like all of these worlds, and he's mated with the women, and he's tried to produce an heir that can help him take over the universe. And Star-Lord is like the first one that actually has the same powers, so he's kind of manipulating him. The thing is, that's a pretty boring idea for a sequel in and of itself, because it takes too long. And the thing is, this could be introduced very early on. You could maybe do a story about just the Guardians trying to kind of snap him out of it, to keep him from following his dad's footsteps. But you don't really learn all the stuff about ego until, like an hour and a half through the movie. And by then, you just don't care. I mean, you know the swerve was coming. You don't really care for any of the characters. And Kurt Russell, I think, this is one of his worst performances. I mean, he doesn't really add anything at all to the movie. He's just kind of phoning it in. And there's a lot of things in this movie where I'm just like scratching my head going, okay, hold on, we got some loose ends. And one of them is there's this scene towards the end where, and this leads to my biggest complaint of the entire movie, we're doing the big apocalypse porn finale where blue stuff's going everywhere, everybody's pirouetting in the air in slow motion, and lasers going off, and you got spaceships exploding. Well, anyway, that goes on for about 45 minutes. No lie, that's the last 45 minutes of the movie, and it's just absolute sensorial, nothingness. I mean, it was cool back when we first saw it, like in, 1998 or 2000, but we've seen it a million times. It's the exact same ending we saw in Pixels, the exact same ending we saw in the X-Men Apocalypse movie, the same ending in Batman vs Superman, same ending in everything. And we're just bored with it. It's been done a million times before. There's no excitement. You know everything's going to pan out. I mean, it kind of follows the whole Joss Whedon template where like a kind of popular side character gets killed off. I'm not going to spoil that one because I can't remember his name, but he's the blue dude, one of them. There's a lot of blue dudes in this movie. Blue dudes that are secretly robots. I mean, a lot of loose ends. I'm trying to figure out why the green skinned chick has a blue robot for a sister. It never is explained. You gotta do your research on this one. There's gold people too. More on that in a minute. But yeah, man, I got lost. There's just way too much stuff going on in this movie. It's just a complete cluster schmoz. Is apparent by this. But what was the point I was trying to make again? About this being the biggest weakness in the movie? Yeah, the finale. It just drags on for too long, completely predictable, just flashy blue explosion things. And you've seen it a million times before. We just don't care anymore. It's been done to death. And it really, really hurts the movie. Same with this movie with like a bajillion subplots going on. You got the thing with Drax and the Wasp chick, and you got the green chick and her sister bickering and trying to become friends again. You got the squirrel, the raccoon, whatever, being abducted, and he becomes friends with the bad guys. It's just like a TV show. I mean, it's being booked basically like a serial program, where if you don't know the characters, and there's not really a whole lot of stuff invested in the new character, to be honest with you, that if you haven't seen like the last 4 or 5 more movies, you're completely lost. And I think it's the same problem we're seeing with the comics. People can never get into those. Or the same reason why you can't get into these movies, because you have to have like such an extensive knowledge of the entire cinematic cosmos, and you just can't hop in and enjoy it. You're just completely lost, and that's the way I felt in this movie. I'm just, okay, even a guy like me, where I know kind of the Marvel mythos, I'm just way over my head. I can't get into these characters. Things move by way too fast. And it seems like this whole movie exists simply so they can make another movie. It's just another lead-in for like the even bigger and badder and even more cluster schmozzy Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Another thing I didn't like about this movie is the soundtrack. It does the whole Watchmen thing where so much of the story isn't actually told through dialogue like an actual movie, but just through like these music videos. We have like 1970s music playing over and over again. I guess it's charming to some people, but to me it just comes off as lazy. Okay, now I remember what I was talking about. That big loose knot that we didn't go back to. There's a part where during this whole apocalypse porn finale, copyright Birdman, 2014, that we see like all these worlds like being simultaneously exploded. Like there's a giant blue thing that comes out of nowhere and starts eating planets. So it's eating like a dinosaur planet. And it starts eating Earth, but we never go back to it. We never find out what happens. Did it just subsist? Did it stop? Or are you leaving that on as sort of a cliffhanger for the next movie? I don't know. There's just so many unanswered questions. Nobody walks away from this movie with a sense of resolution. And to me, I just walk out going, you know what? All this is set up for another movie. What's the point? Why watch the next one? It's going to be the exact same thing. This is the problem with movies. They have that serial epidemic where everything is being built like a TV show. And it doesn't work because we want 1 and 2, 3-act stories. Look at Logan. That was a movie that kind of followed that template a little bit better than this one. This one, it just feels like one never-ending middle, and quite frankly, I got bored with it pretty easy. Which I said, again, is a shame because the banter's pretty good, the script writing's okay, the humor's not really that great, but it's better than most movies that I like, and it's just squandered because it has to fall into this whole predictable ruse, and the big, grand finale soon the next movie. too many characters, you just get lost. It's a big, confusing mess. If you like the first one, you'll probably like this one, but if you're like me and you like the first one, it's the exact same thing all over again. Slightly better done, but like I said, nothing really to write home about. Okay, now it's with the spoilers, and as you can see by the image here, there's a couple of them. I mean, there's some cameos. You got the Watcher shows up with Stan Lee's cameos, an astronaut talking to them. There's a part where, believe it or not, Pac-Man shows up. There's a Pac-Man cameo. Why? I don't know. That's just one of the things Star-Lord turns into. He turns into Pac-Man. Why? Because you want to refer to pixels for whatever reason. And of course, the big post-credit stinger is when the gold people, I don't know their names, introduce Adam Warlock. They don't really introduce him in this show like this little sarcophagus he's in. And of course, he's a big player in the big Infinity Gauntlet, which is going to be the big, huge crossover movie next year with the Avengers and Spider-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy and probably Star Wars for all we know. But once again, what's the point? I mean, it's enjoyable in small doses, but at the end of the day, it's just another cash grab. The whole point is basically to be another segue to another movie where the exact same thing happens over and over again. It's just one long, never-ending middle with no conclusion, no finality, and really no attempt at decent storytelling. It's just another cash grab, and even as a slightly better cash grab than average compared to, Batman or Superman and, Fantastic Four, you still just walk out of the theater going, that was completely needless. It felt like watching a TV show. Why did I pay money for this? And I think this has been going on for a long time now, and eventually audiences, they're going to get tired of it. I mean, it's going to make $1 bajillion regardless, but like I'm seeing now, it's becoming predictable, it's becoming formulaic, audiences know exactly what to expect, it's becoming a joke, it's becoming repetitive. If I were to say repetitive, well, in the case it kind of makes sense doubly in this context. People are going to move on. I mean, we're kind of getting tired of the whole superhero shtick where nobody gets hurt and there's a bunch of, faux heroism. I think in our world, especially now, we're going to want humanity. We're going to want real characters, real people who are weak and are prone to things and can be defeated and actually show a little bit of humanity as opposed to superhumanity. So like I said, the movie's going to make $1 million. It's got the Dairy Queen tie-in. And once it gets to the movie with a lot of product placement, it's doing the thing with Dairy Queen, so Dairy Queen is prominently displayed. And I'd be remiss if I didn't bring the fact that at least parts of the movie were filmed in my hometown. So if you're like in Cartersville, Georgia, that area, and you see like the downtown area get exploded, just remember that I got a hand shanty one time there in front of the theater. But that's a story for a different time and day. But even with all this stuff going on, you just walk out feeling like you got something episodic instead of something special. It doesn't feel like an event movie anymore. It just feels like, well, another Marvel movie. And for better or for worse, that's pretty much what we're dealing with from here on out. And that's both a good thing if you're a fan and a terrible thing if you're a moviegoer. And eventually, I think it's the beginning of the end. You got the Howard the Duck cameo. You got a lot of other things that'll please the fans. But just a casual audience and a regular moviegoer, we've seen it a million times. We're starting to get bored. And by the time Guardians of the Galaxy 3 comes out, we may not even care.